日本時間15日のブリュワーズ戦ではなんとか無失点でしのぎ7セーブ目を挙げたものの、デッドボールに2つのフォアボールで満塁のピンチを招き、不安の残るマウンドとなったドジャースの守護神エドウィン・ディアス投手。怪我の影響で登板数が少なく極端な数字になりやすいという事情はあるものの、防御率、ウィップともにクローザーとしては厳しい数字が並んでいる。特に14日は2点のリードを守れず無念の降板となったが、試合後にクローザー交代の可能性を問われたロバーツ監督が、じゃあ他に選択肢をくれと発言したことなどが大きな話題となっている。今回はディアス投手の不調というトピックに対する識者の見解や、この状況を唯一楽しんでいる某球団ファンの声を紹介していく。
Edwin Diaz did choose to come back to the Mets, and they wanted him until he spurned them. Their season, believe it or not, would have been even worse than it has been so far. Think about that. Plus, the Dodgers were dunking on the Mets when the Mets went there early in the season about Edwin Diaz. Look at Diaz, we stole him away from you. Hey, Joe Davis and everybody out in LA, yeah, you may win a third World Series, but Edwin Diaz, shot. He's been a disaster. So enjoy Edwin Diaz all you want. And the cockfight.
I'm puzzled by this. How long of a leash do you give a closer who was obviously dominant? Another guy who was number one in the sport, clearly struggling.
Well, what's interesting about this whole situation, they have two guys in the bullpen right now that are trying to pitch themselves into shape. Evan Phillips was coming off of Tommy John, and of course the injury to Edwin Diaz that kept him out of being in that bullpen. Now listen, Edwin has had some unbelievable years, almost historic years,
yeah.
And he's also had some down years
yes, he
in
has,
the Mets
right.
uniform.
Right.
So he goes through these periods. But watching him on TV and the two blown saves that he did have in Arizona, when I was watching those games, his fastball use was up. He was hitting the center of the plate with that fastball a lot, and his slider, he just could not land it. So he's really far away from really the ultimate Edwin Diaz that we'd like to see. As far as Robert's comments are concerned, what do you guys give him, 15 minutes to cool down
minutes.
After a game?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
He needed more?
He needed more.
He needed more.
Hey, listen, what happens is when your team is put in the position to win, and you do everything, the Muncie right. Everything to win that ball game and to get it going, and you don't, that will anger a manager. And I think that he knows he has other options, but they have some injuries too with Blake Trinan and others.
Tanner Scott is an elite guy.
Yeah, he is.
Tanner Scott's an elite guy, and he's been on like getting one out and closing out innings and getting out. And then we haven't heard about any injury or anything like that. It's just puzzling. Normally, you know what? I'll give 3. You know, like the first blown save, normal. Guys blown save, the best. Mariano blows saves. Then second one. All right, we're a little edgy. Third time, hey, how about big guy? How about a little lower leverage? How about giving in the 5th and the 7th till you find yourself again?
I think we're at that point, at this point, and Ron's absolutely correct. He's had some amazing seasons, 3 seasons with an ERA under 2, won something. His first season in New York was something like a 5.5 ERA.
Yeah.
Now he's at 11.5, 6 runs worse. I think if you have an 11.5 ERA, you probably should be doing something other than closing, at least at the moment.
And given that he had the surgery, he's on the IL for a long time, he's clearly not himself, and it's okay.
Right. I mean, he might have a fair excuse for it, but if he's not good enough, they should put somebody else in there. I do like the cooling off period being only 10 minutes. Let's keep it at 10 because we get some unvarnished honesty this way, and this is what was on Dave's mind, and he let it out.
As of late, since the All-Star game, it's been a real big struggle. Tanner Scott's been awesome filling in for Diaz, but when Diaz came back, it's been a struggle. Kev, we see the numbers don't lie. The stuff's a tick down, the velocity a tick down. So are you concerned for the Dodgers when it comes to Edwin Diaz? Are you concerned for the Dodgers bullpen?
Yeah, I'm just concerned because at bottom line, at 3-peat, you're going to have to save and knock down some tough outs right now. And Edwin Diaz, when he is off, he is off. And, location, Ryan. You know as well as I do, they're down to 2 outs, 4-2 ball game. Next thing you know, they string 4 straight hits together. But middle. Guys are hitting almost 400, low, high 385, I think, on his fastball. The bottom line is location and locating your pitches. And when you're off and you're not, and you're sitting around middle, the Brewers string together tough at bats. And that's who they are, and that's who they are as a team. Remember, they're coming in after getting swept in San Diego, and they blew 2 of their leads themselves. This was just a frustrating loss for Dave Roberts, and you felt that. No, they're not going to lose 2 games because they lost to the Milwaukee Brewers, and this might be the the matchup that we're going to see later on in the postseason, but it's more than that. Max Muncy hits a huge pinch hit 3-run home run to put him up 4-2, and you feel that this game's got to be won. Period, end of story. And next thing you know, it didn't. So it stings, and it's frustrating. And yeah, they got to figure stuff out. They have options. They will have options. This is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Sasaki went down there last year. He wasn't great yesterday, command-wise. You know, he walked in a couple, was able to wiggle out of it. But this is a team with depth, and they will have options. But this was definitely frustrating to lose this game.
Yeah, and I think for Diaz, one of the things that stands out is 3 miles an hour difference. Like, not one, like a mile an hour, I don't ever, but 3 miles is a lot. And what happens is that I think when you're a closer and you're a flamethrower and you throw 100 miles an hour or darn near 100, you get away with a lot of mistakes. So you tend to not necessarily rely on pinpoint control all the time because you're blowing guys away. Well, when all of a sudden you don't have that velocity and now you're, like you said, missing location. Very few times do you go back at the end of a game and look at a tape and go, oh, that was a good pitch and he hit it over the wall. It's usually up, it's usually out over the plate, it's usually a mistake, and that's what he was making last night. And so they got to figure out what it is, but they will have a ton of different options. Who knows what they go with, and they have guys down there that can get guys out. And speaking of getting guys out, yeah, what's that?
Well, before I go, first of all, Max Muncy, I did want to salute him, and he is the all-time homer leader at Dodger Stadium, which was pretty. I mean, I'm telling you, this guy was a released, non-tendered guy from the Oakland A's back, struggling, came over to Dodger Stadium and the Dodger organization into his legs, and now we're talking about that kind of stuff. And second of all, with Edwin Diaz, though, like, I'm going to ask you just real quick, does he ever get back to his form? Because this game is confidence, right? This whole game, offensively and pitching-wise, is confidence. How and when will he get back, or if?
Yeah, I do have concerns just because of injury history, right? We saw what happened with the WC, and then you miss a whole entire season, and you're constantly chasing that as Father Time is chasing us on the other side. Like, our arms don't speed up as we get older, typically. I think to be an elite reliever, from my experience and being around guys that did it for a long time, the physical toll which you have to put your body to be in an unbelievable shape. And I'm not saying he's not, I'm just saying the guys like the Trevor Hoffmans, Aroldis Chapman. Look what we've seen out of Chappie, man. This guy has dedicated himself to being because it slows down. Everything slows down. You know that as a hitter, like the old story was when we face veteran guys, you don't throw them breaking balls for strikes because their bat speed is slowed down because they're just older. And I think that's what happens. So I do worry about that for him because it's not like all of a sudden he's 23. Like, age will get to us. But if he's in the right place to get it done, it's a place like that in LA where you know they're going to exhaust every opportunity.
不振のディアス投手にスポットライトを当てた今回の動画はいかがだったでしょうか。昨シーズンのタナー・スコット投手しかり、終盤にクローザー問題に悩まされる年が続いていますが、復調を信じ固定するか、一度配置転換を行うか、皆さんの意見や感想をコメント欄に書き込んでみてください。高評価やハイプもお待ちしています。